Good afternoon, evening, morning, or whatever time it is when you're watching this. My name is Steve.
And I am Ian, unstuck in time.
Together, we are putting together a narrative cyberpunk dystopian or utopian, depending on how you slice it, RPG known as Downbelow. Recently, we've taken to asking each other short questions about the philosophy of Downbelow, because we do these things in largely series chunks, and so the current question is based on the philosophy of some of the systems. Specifically, we have gone with a hyper-minimalist system, and by hyper-minimalist, I mean I could literally say, write down 10 things about your character. Those are the things you can use to generate successes. In any given scene, you have to gather 10 successes as a group before you gather 7 failures as a group. Go! And that's it. So why have we gone so hyper-minimalist? What's the philosophy behind that?
So, in role-playing games, you can spend words on two ends of the spectrum.
Yep.
And the more words you spend towards either end, the more you pull your game towards one end or the other. Our game is focused on narrative, story, and characters. The fewer words we have to spend on the system, the more we can focus on that narrative, story, and character aspect. And that is pretty much the reason, because a minimalist system allows us to completely put the characters, the world, the stories that people are telling first. And it allows the players and the GMs to put those first. A common saying in role-playing game discussions is that a good game system gets out of the way and lets you tell the story.
Yep.
Well, in this design, I decided let's take that to its logical extreme.
Now, jumping in here, this doesn't mean that the best game systems are the non-existent ones. There are some very complex, very complicated game systems that are very much appreciated because they still get out of the way. They flow elegantly enough. They're designed well enough to do what they do that you can tell your story facilitated by the results of these complex systems.
Indeed, and I should note that I don't entirely agree with the philosophy behind the statement that that is what makes an RPG system good, because I think that there's actually a lot of design that can go into rules that are much more complex, that tell their own stories and have their own enjoyable interactions. But
the one place I fully agree with it, though, is that nothing stops a game session faster than, hang on, let me look that up. Or maybe it's in this book over here. I'm just going to...
Yeah, that can be a great big distraction, definitely. The but caveat that I wanted to bring up is I wanted to explore the logical extreme, because one of my design philosophies that I enjoy embracing is exploring logical progressions of an idea. And the logical progression of the idea that the system should sit down and not be in the way of telling the story is, let's bring a hyper-minimalist system that is lighter weight than even what is already out there, because there are some really lightweight systems out there. GURPS Light is extremely lightweight. GURPS itself is not, but GURPS Light is extremely lightweight.
You might find
Savage Worlds, extremely lightweight.
The only things I can think of that are possibly lighter weight are stuff like S. John Ross's Rysis, the Anything RPG, which weighs in on an index card.
Yeah, and there's some others, like True 20 is a variant on the D&D system that is very lightweight and adored by a bunch of people. There's a bunch of lightweight systems out there, but I would have to say that more than 9 out of 10 of them are stuck in certain modes of thinking, like using dice and difficulty numbers to generate successes, and mostly in a fairly simulation-oriented type of game where actions succeed at doing certain physical things in the world, as opposed to I wanted to really focus in on that narrative and story aspect of whether you succeed or fail is an expression of what your character means in the story.
And to focus in on that, not only does the system shut up and get out of the way, the system actively participates in facilitating the narrative, because without the narrative, there is no system in this case. It's literally based around narratively describing a character.
and narratively describing the story challenge situations that they are in.
And then narratively tracking the results of those challenges. You'll notice that there are no fancy names for hit point pools or anything. There's simply stuff like, has the boss run out of patience yet?
Mm-hmm. So, if you are reading a book, you will be able to sort of track in the scene, especially if you reread the scene, as you read, like, my favorite example to look at this in, because of the way that he paces his writing, is Jim Butcher's writing, especially in Harry Dresden. You can tell as Harry is succeeding at certain things and failing at others in the course of a scene, and you can track where Jim Butcher's mind is going on. Okay, at this point, Harry is going to get the crap kicked out of him before he gets his next clue, because otherwise it would be boring.
And is written formulaically, but the formula is good, the formula is solid, and the formula is different enough that the audience doesn't entirely catch on that that's what's happening.
And the idea of this system being what it is, when you do something minimal, like poetry, or like designing this system, it really makes the parts that you do choose to put in stand starkly for what they are. So, this is poetry in RPG design. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to choose elements that say only what I want to say, and not say the things that I don't want to say.
And there we have it. That's basically the philosophy behind minimalism in a nutshell. Until next time, if you have more questions for us, however long they may be, please write them down in the comments below, give us some feedback, and we will answer your questions directly.
And if you'd like to be minimalist, then just support us, whether by subscribing here or on Patreon. And thank you for watching.